Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Kim Christensen. Colorado received millions of dollars from an opioid crisis settlement. Dozens of organizations applied, hoping just to get a cut. But the need was so great, only a select few were chosen. 9 News reporter Kelly Rinke's along now to take a look at how this funding hopefully is going to save some lives. Kelly.
Yeah, hey there, guys. This funding stems from lawsuits against drug manufacturers and distributors. Organizations across the state applied, and their requests added up to nearly $50 million. Problem is, Colorado had less than $10 million to give out.
This crisis is causing more deaths than we're losing to car crashes and to gun violence combined.
A drug overdose crisis is impacting thousands of families in Colorado. The state's attorney general hopes his announcement Monday will save families from that pain.
We can help people who are living in recovery. We can raise better awareness.
The Department of Law announced which groups making a difference statewide will get dollars from the opioid settlement. These grants were awarded to community organizations and county jails to help people struggling with addiction.
We also need a lot more treatment and recovery services so that people who are struggling with addiction can get help. We need to support those who've been touched by this crisis, including families who may have lost loved ones.
83 groups submitted an application requesting nearly $50 million in funding. Just over $8 million was available. Colorado Coalition for the Homeless was one of the lucky ones.
So we know that when an individual in a family situation is suffering from a substance use disorder, it's disruptive to the entire family.
Kathy Alderman says their grant will go towards a peer support program.
They have somebody who has had a very similar experience to them working with them.
This effort comes at a time when the number of Coloradans dying of a drug overdose has grown. The state's health department says 974 people died in 2018. The number nearly doubled by 2023. 1,865 people lost their life.
We are in a deep hole right now because of how many people we're losing, and it's going to take a while to get out of that hole.
So Colorado's program that gives out thousands of doses of life-saving drug is running out of money. The state is prioritizing who gets naloxone and who doesn't. A.G. Weiser says he's working with state partners to make sure the program is funded and continues.
So it's official. This September is going to go down as the warmest on record in Denver. Averaged just below 70 degrees over the last 30 days. Tomorrow we start a new month. We're expecting some cooler temperatures on Tuesday, but Kathy Sabin, 90 is still possible in our future.
Mm-hmm. It is, and that would be the latest 90-degree temperature we've ever recorded in the month of October, really over a summer season. So yeah, just full of records this summer has been. And today, even with the arrival of that weak front today, not much in the way of moisture, but temperatures are slowly coming down, which is a good news, and we'll take that. We have fire weather watch areas out tomorrow, the fire danger elevated, and as Kyle mentioned, another record high temperature possible as we say goodbye to September, hello to October, a month we typically see the first freeze and the first snowfall. But look at this, look at these current readings. After afternoon highs in the mid 80s and then the front came through, look at how cool we are, and temperatures tonight are headed for the lower 40s. That will feel a bit more like October. We have winds that are much lighter out of the northeast, but due to the wind, the warmth, the dry conditions, fire danger, something we'll be talking about again this week. Fire weather watch to the east and to the north in Grand County and Jackson counties. And you can see moisture's really limited. We had a couple of showers around Alamos and Trinidad. Didn't last very long. The overnight temperature trend, a whole lot cooler. Sweatshirt weather at the bus stop. We'll have the timing and impact of the next weather maker headed for Colorado this week in just a bit.
President Biden says he'll go to North Carolina on Wednesday in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. The storm has now killed at least 133 people across 6 states. The White House says as many as 600 people are unaccounted for. The Asheville, North Carolina area is among the hardest hit. Hundreds of roads there remain closed, making it difficult to transport supplies and rescue people. One man hiked 11 miles through landslides and destroyed roads to find his mom and dad.
Just was the greatest relief I've had in my life, and just hugged him as tight as I could, and bawled, and then went inside and found my mom and did the same.
Colorado Task Force 1 is conducting search and rescue operations in that area, and they call the devastation unimaginable.
Super arduous work today. The terrain's very steep. It has lots of water saturation, so footing's not good. There are bridges out. Some roads are washed out, trees across the road.
Officials warn rebuilding will be lengthy and difficult. There are several ways that you can help. You can find them all listed on 9news.com.
Pete Rose, baseball's all-time hits leader, has died. During his 24 years in the majors, the man nicknamed Charlie Hustle collected 3 batting titles, a Most Valuable Player award, and 3 World Series rings. He was a 17-time All-Star at 5 different positions. He retired as a player in 1986, but continued to manage the Cincinnati Reds for 3 years. Then he received a permanent ban from the game of baseball. It was determined that not only did he gamble on games while he was playing for and managing the Reds, but that he had bet on his own team. Pete Rose was 83 years old.
The basketball world and Nuggets fans are also mourning today after learning of Dikembe Mutombo's passing. The Hall of Fame center died from brain cancer at the age of 58. He spent 18 seasons in the NBA, starting here in Denver. He'll be remembered for his iconic finger wag after a block shot. He didn't just make an impact on the court. While playing and in the years after, he devoted his time to charitable causes, namely improving health, education, and quality of life for people in Africa. Today, Tom Green spoke with Dan Issel, who coached Dikembe in the early 90s.
Off the court, he was hysterical. We had this thing we always went through. If somebody was late for a bus or late for practice, I'd say, Dikembe, how much should we fine him? About $2,000. That's what he'd always say, about $2,000. But on the court, he was all business. And, you know, that infiltrates your entire roster.
Oh, that voice will be missed. Dikembe was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2022. He died surrounded by his family and his wife.
Police are investigating a crash today involving a school bus in Aurora. It was a car that T-boned an APS bus just after 4 this afternoon at 22nd and Havana. Police say 3 people were on that bus: the driver, a student with special needs, and the student's caregiver. None of them was hurt. The driver of the car was hospitalized. They're not saying anything about their injuries. Police are still trying to figure out who was at fault.
New details: an arrest affidavit for a man accused of shooting 3 people in random shootings this summer. Austin Benson was being treated for hallucinations and PTSD. Benson is facing several charges for what happened June 27th. Police say he drove through a neighborhood in Aurora and shot 3 people. The affidavit shows Benson was possibly under the influence of drugs. Medical staff gave him Narcan after he was arrested. His family says he was taking medicine for PTSD and hallucinations. The affidavit confirms what 9 News Investigates reported in August, that the gun used in the latest attack was from 2018. Police said that's when he shot at and threatened multiple people, but a judge dropped the 2018 case after concluding Benson wasn't mentally competent for trial.
The city of Denver has agreed to pay $125,000 to a man who says he was treated unfairly during a police investigation about a stolen truck. Lawsuit claims Scott Carey was wrongfully arrested in 2022 for stealing a commercial vehicle. According to the lawsuit, he was charged based on 1 fingerprint on a detached compartment. Lawsuit says he spent 6 days in jail and several months being prosecuted before the case was dismissed.
CPW is trying to catch a 5th wolf pup from the so-called Cooper Creek pack. Wildlife officers started an operation to capture the wolf pack last month. It was all because they were killing livestock. CPW caught 6 wolves, 2 adults and 4 pups. 1 died days later. The agency told 9 News 3 weeks ago was confident it got all the wolves in the pack. Today, the agency announced it missed 1. After reviewing game cameras, they captured this picture of the pup. CPW is now trying to catch it and reunite it with its mother and litter mates before releasing it in the winter.